All right, here we go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Burgundy Brigade podcast. I am your less than excited host this evening, Kevin Goff at BRG Brigade Kevin, joined by a saddened Aaron Music at Avalangelist, and an equally despondent, but that may just be because she's back in snowy Colorado and not on a sunny cruise ship anymore. Callie Agnew at Callie Avs Agnew on Twitter. How's everyone doing tonight?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Oh, God.
I am a hockey team, as Alfie would say.
You mean inflammable means flammable? So, yeah, that's pretty much where we all stand, I think. The Avs, after what can only really be described as a glorious start to the season, have essentially, I mean, the coffin is all but nailed shut at this point. We are all holding on to the remnants of the hapless hopeless, so to speak, where we are still saying, well, we're not mathematically eliminated yet. But the Avalanche, with their loss yesterday to the Anaheim Ducks, again, have all but sealed their own fate in the 2018-19 season and are now 7 points out of a playoff spot with, 11 games to go? It's not looking good, everybody. It's not looking good. Possible? Yes. Probable? Probably not. And
go Eagles.
Yeah, pretty much. Go Eagles, the only of the other hockey teams that seems to have a legitimate shot at the playoffs right now. I don't know. What the last game there was pretty much it really kind of echoed the entire season, right? The Avs started off real good, up 2-0. Things were looking good. The big guys were scoring. Then, the second period happened. And, who needs to play that? Certainly not the Avalanche.
No, second periods are for dorks.
Absolutely.
Second periods are for winners.
Ooh, that stings.
Shots fired.
The Avs blow their 2-0 lead in a span of a couple of minutes. Go into the third period, down 3-2, claw back, a really nice play, gets the game tied. And then just a stupid penalty, complete lack of discipline, and then absolutely futile penalty killing. And it leads to a goal with about 50 seconds left in the game. Avs lose. This is pretty much the season.
That's all she wrote.
It's pretty much the season in a whole, right? The Avs out hot.
Yeah. And not only that, they were powered in the first period by McKinnon and Rantanen.
Yep. And
then the team adjusted, took that away. And suddenly it's like, oh, there's not a whole lot there.
Not much else.
And let's take dumb penalties all season long.
Yeah.
See how many people we can get in the box in a game on a consistent basis.
Throw-ins, a couple, it's not all of them, but there were just, you can look at a couple, probably I think the Getzlaff one, Varley should probably have.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good shot going back against the grain as Varley's moving the other direction, but it's right under his blocker. He saw it the whole way. Probably should have that one. Probably should, it's in the last goal as well. Combination, bad penalty killing, and then Varley lets one sneak inside his elbow. Can't control the puck when it hits him, and that's basically been the whole season. Huge start. They were tied for first in the Western Conference late November.
Yep.
And everybody was sitting there going, we know this isn't going to last forever. We know this is, I mean, they had, what, a 12-game span early there where they had points? And they had like 8 or 9 wins out of those 12 games?
Yeah, they're 13-22-4, I think, since December.
Yeah, and then since December 6th, they're 13-22-5.
They just hit a self-destruct button.
Someone put in the self-destruct code 1A, 2B, 3.
Up, up, down, down, left, right, A, B, select, start. Blah.
If they just hit X over and over again, it would have been fine.
Totally. Come on.
That's the only button I ever hit in games is the X
It
button.
is the X button.
That's it. Sometimes I win. So
Just take your Pikachu and go down B.
I just don't know why someone didn't rage quit in, January and start the game over. I mean, come on.
Right.
I tried blowing up the
pull the
cartridge
game
for
out
what
and
it's
blow
worth.
it. Yeah, blow the cartridge. Come on.
So, all right. So what went wrong with this team?
Goaltending. Goaltending matters.
Big time.
You cannot win with sub-900 goaltending, which they got for 2 straight months.
Yeah. Pretty awful stretch there for a while. I'm looking at God bless Hockey Reference, so I don't have to actually go through each goalie's start one by one on the NHL website. They've got all their game logs. Varley, wow. December 8th on. So December 8th, .783 save percentage, .833, .905, .850, .919, .833, .733, .933, .850, .867. I mean, another really good one, .968, but then .885, .8. So many 8s and 7s and low 9s, just not good enough. Just flat not good enough. Grubauer, it's the same story. .867, .625, .857, .972, .929, .75, .714, .700. I mean, there's a couple high 9s tossed in there too, but again, it's so few and far between, and then immediately after, it's right at the low 9s or in the 8s again, and that's just not gonna do it. It just doesn't do it at all. And the most frustrating point about this, and this is where the Avs where it was slightly different from some other disappointing Avs seasons. A lot of this was in the stretch when the Avs themselves were playing pretty good hockey, and the goalies just flat sucked. For years, it was Varley standing on his head, doing everything he can, giving up 4 goals, sure, but he was facing 50 shots, 45 shots a night, and just not getting it done. And that obviously isn't going to get it done either. But this is not. This is a horse of a different color.
Yep.
I'll add in the fact that they've had a couple of guys regress seriously or struggle. I don't know if you can call it regress. Kerfoot, Jost hasn't been great.
I don't know that you'd call Jost a regression.
Stagnant?
Okay. Yeah. Though I have been very impressed with Jost since he came back up from the AHL.
Since he came back up from the AHL, I agree he has played very well.
I wish he would have stayed down there longer.
Yeah, I almost think he was brought up because of injuries, but I don't know.
I think he was.
I think
I would have liked a month.
I would have been with that as well. Absolutely. If the team seemed to make it pretty clear that it was going to be it was going to be like 2 weeks or something.
And then he got hurt and it became
3 weeks for sure.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think a month would have been best.
But you know what really has sparked him, and what I really want to see going forward? Pair him with Landeskog.
I was just going to say, playing with Gabe Landeskog.
Mm-hmm. It would be interesting to see like JT, Jost, and Gabe, or hell, Mikko. I don't care. Any of those 3 together.
Just as long as you keep Mikko and Rantanen together, keep Landeskog and Jost together and find a third component.
You're definitely keeping Mikko and Rantanen together.
Did I really?
You did.
You did. I know what you meant, but I had to give you shit because that was pretty funny.
You lose focus for 1 second.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
And it gets caught every time.
Dude, I'm a teacher. I know, believe me. My kids throw that in my face every time I say something stupid.
Pairings, I would love to see Comfer be your third line center who plays a lot of roles going forward. Power play, penalty kill. You're jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Put him around Greer and Kaut, please.
Yes. That sounds like a very nice line, actually.
I mean, it's going to be audacious. It's going to be gritty. It's going to be in your face.
If they actually, give that a go.
It's probably not.
Kaut will get a shot. Kaut will get a shot. He was a first-round pick. And as we've seen with the Colorado Avalanche, if you're a first-round pick, you'll get a chance. Beyond that, not so much.
We still have the bet going where I think Greer makes the team next year.
If he does, I would love that. I mean, at the same time, I don't know that it can be a right at the. We have to wait half the season and see how they actually use him.
I think it depends on who they sign in free agency and all that kind of stuff, too.
I think we'll get a real good look at that. Absolutely, because I mean, I was saying that same night that the Avs could have just slotted Greer into Blake Comel's old spot, but they went out and got Matt Calvert. Now again, I'm not taking shots at Matt Calvert. Matt Calvert has fit his role very well. Had a slow start, but he fit into his niche very well. But they had every opportunity to say, you know what, we can give this young kid a chance. He's ready. This is the role we want him in. Let's put him in it and see how he does. And they didn't.
I mean, even if you scratch Andrighetto or whatever Bork, at least give the kid a shot.
Scratch Gabriel Bork. Slow down.
I know.
My hopes for this offseason are that Colin Wilson, Gabriel Bork, and Andrighetto all get moved to other teams.
Yeah.
That'll open up roster spots for younger players that are frankly too good for the AHL right now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that all of that will happen. But then, just as Callie said, it depends on what do the Avs do. Are they going to actually go ahead and give a shot of confidence in the kid and say, this is where we want you to be playing? We're going to actually see how you handle it. Or are they just going to continue with this wishy-washy bullshit that they continuously do with all of their prospects? And go, until they die. And it's not even like this is a Duncan Seaman situation. It's not like it's a Joey Hishon thing. It's not a Chris Begraw thing, all of whom dealt with injury, serious injury that hindered them. This is a guy who's clearly too good for the AHL at his age. He's over a point per game. All he's done is everything they've asked of him. He started showing progress in what they wanted from him in the long stretch. He was finally up, and then they sent him back down. I don't know what the hell else they want from him.
My guess is they wanted him to play minutes. They wanted him in the AHL for that playoff run.
Which, I mean, then because this makes me so crazy. Because again, I was listening to BSN shortly after it happened, and they were talking about speaking with Bednar right after it happened, because they'd also spoken with Greer, and Greer was pissed, understandably so. And when brought it up to Bednar basically said, we just want to see it from him every game. Not, we think he needs to go play minutes. We just need to see it from him every game. And, it's an understandable criticism at times, but at that moment, he was trending in the right direction. He was doing everything well. He was becoming impactful. He scored it. He got on the score sheet, finally really showing the confidence that he could go out and make a difference, and then they send him back down.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. And then they call up Agazino when they get the chance.
That one especially.
And still leave Greer down.
Like,
where I got kind of frustrated is when Landeskog went down and they still didn't call him up.
yeah. That is easily the biggest point of criticism that Joe Sakic and Jared Bednar and whoever else is in charge of those particular decisions about calling players up 100% deserves, because Andrew Agazino to me is a poor man's Sven Adrigetto.
Oh, 100%.
He's like especially at the NHL level. He's AHL wise, he's a pretty solid two-way guy. He has some really good offensive skills. He scores all the time in the AHL. But in the NHL, he's just not there. He's just not there.
Yeah.
He had that
kind of older for a call-up as well. He's 28.
28? It made no sense to me.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
But the growth of Greer, the growth of Jost are about the two things that are like in the season. Gerard, I'm very impressed with, especially post All-Star game. He's really come on and become a much more active player on both sides of the puck.
Can we take a second and appreciate Carl? Good Lord, Carl Soderberg.
We can definitely appreciate Carl.
Oh my God.
It's not often you have a career year at 34.
Yeah.
No, and you're blind in one eye.
Carl Soderberg, who is blind in one eye.
Blind in one eye. I shared that fact, and apparently most people don't know it.
Oh, really? They made such a big deal about that when he was signed.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of people that were like, oh my God, I had no idea.
That's so funny.
I'm happy to share it again.
Yeah, Soderberg, Calvert, that's another pairing that I have. Those two.
Yeah. So would you have them be fourth line then?
Yeah, I'm okay with that being fourth line. I mean,
Poor Carl.
You're going to split the time equally between the second, third, and fourth line.
So
It'll
where do
depend
you
on the
slot
situations.
Curve?
What's that?
Because where do you slot Curve? Because he frustrates the shit out of me.
I slot him on another team. I'm kind of frustrated with him.
Yeah.
I put him in as a piece to entice someone to give up a good player in a Barry deal.
He's an interesting guy, Alexander Kerfoot.
I mean,
I like him. He's a nice guy.
Well, of course. Hockey players are all generally nice fellows.
you know what I can say about Kerfoot in his college career? He passed all his classes.
At Harvard.
At Harvard.
Very smart man.
Well, man. Kerfoot, you had to obviously... Kerfoot was always going to be one where where he was going to fall.
He was a question mark.
He was a question mark. 19 goals last year. His shooting percentage was stupidly high.
26%, I believe it was.
It was crazily high. He's got 11 goals this year. The thing that you wanted to see from him increase probably was the assist points. They're essentially the same. 24 assists last year, 23 assists right now. 43 points last year, 34 points this last year. So the numbers are the same, just flip-flopped. 3 and a 4, but now in the opposing spots. He's minus 10. Has more penalty minutes this year in fewer games. He's a frustrating fellow to watch.
Mm-hmm.
He frustrates me a lot because he takes a lot of stupid penalties. At least this season.
Yep.
Just a lot of those where he misses a step, so he turns and grabs a stick or sticks his knee out and trips a guy, and you're like, what the hell are you doing? He's that guy for me.
And frequently there's another one that just you don't always know the work ethic that you're going to get out of him.
Yeah, Zadorov is the same kind of thing for me. He takes a lot of stupid penalties, and he's been really frustrating this year. But he has the awesome hits and everything, but then he also gets penalized for stupid stuff.
Yeah, I mean some of it with Zad definitely is. Sometimes he gets lazy and he uses his stick, which again, you should never really see from a guy who's 6'5" and can skate the way that he does. That he can when he's it gets silly a lot. There's also a decent amount where he gets called for just being bigger and stronger than the other person.
Yeah.
Plenty
I'll take
of
the
that.
Physical type penalties with him more than I will the stupid stick ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then you're absolutely. His value. A lot of his value comes in the
ones
presence.
where it's open head, take out brain penalties.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And those happen. Those absolutely happen for him. And
while we're on the subject, Mikko Rantanen, stop. You are more useful on the ice than in the box.
Yeah, he still has a little bit of giraffe baby in him when he's on the ice. He just looks, and just occasionally has those awkward, stupid moments where all of his limbs go flailing on their own.
Yeah, the rest just don't know that about him. So they call him
well, I mean,
like that.
You can't not call a guy when he clocks someone else in the face with a stick. It doesn't matter if there's 2 minutes left in the game.
I mean his embellishments that he gets called for when he does that shit. I'm like, that's just how he falls.
Yeah, that's just Mikko being Mikko.
That's just him. Yeah, he didn't embellish that. He's just a klutz.
That's funny. Special teams, another area that just the team went from being. I mean, I was never really fully happy with the penalty kill this year, even when it was going quote unquote well, because most of it was still relying on the goalies. There were lots of shots coming through, but the goalies were stopping the puck. Then they stopped stopping the puck.
Once.
And then they stopped stopping the puck, and then the penalty kill just lodged its head firmly up its own rear. But what went from being an oh my god scary power play to just being an oh my god what the hell is happening power play.
It went from being special to special.
Yeah, just what I mean. I don't even know what to say. Like we've touched on it before. There were times, especially early in that season, that second power play unit was more dynamic and dangerous than the first one, and the first one was already being ridiculous. And then for again a long stretch of time, it just stopped completely. In every possible sense, they couldn't get in the zone. When they got in the zone, they couldn't pass. When they finally when they did get a pass, they couldn't get a decent shot. When they did get a decent shot, they missed or tried to make another extra cute pass because why not be extra cute?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Looking at you, Curve. Excuse me.
Here's looking at you, Curve.
Yeah.
It was a cough.
Yeah. Excuse me.
I quote Kerfoot's name out there in trade rumors, even though he's an unrestricted free agent. He's maybe easy to sign.
He's restricted.
Is he restricted?
He's restricted.
I never know how they treat college free agents, whether they're unrestricted or restricted when they come.
It still has to do with years played and specifically age. So I think it's 7 years in the NHL, 7 professional years, or when you hit 26.
Okay, that's fair.
So Kerf is still restricted. He is arbitration eligible as well.
That might be what I'm thinking of.
I would expect the Avalanche will probably qualify him. Will probably sign him. It will be very. I mean, one of the slight silver linings out of all of this particular season is we were all looking at the cap for next year, going, man, this could happen a lot of different ways. Where are they going to have to spend their money? We know they're going to have to pay Mikko. But what's going to happen with Kerfoot? What's going to happen with Andrighetto? What's going to happen with Comfer? What's going to happen with Zadorov? All of these things. And, I mean, we've got some pretty clear answers now. Obviously, you still have to back up a truck of money to Mikko Rantanen and say, have all the money.
And a pony.
And a pony.
I'm set on that pony. He's getting one.
We just need to talk to EJ, right? That'll help.
Yeah. You can help him raise it.
Exactly. and then race it.
They can name it Gabe.
That makes sense.
They both love him so much.
They do.
And the other nice thing is if you're going to be bad in a year, this is probably a year to be bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the Avs already get a decent helping of that because Ottawa is, well, bad is an improvement on what they are.
They're a trash can fire.
So much. But, I mean, we're already at the point now where Wilson will be gone, almost assuredly.
Bork will be gone.
Bork will be gone. I mean, unless something stupid, and I mean stupid, happens, Bork will be gone. Ghetto will be...
is forcing that hand.
Yeah, he better. Ghetto, I cannot imagine they will qualify him.
Nemeth
will be likely gone. I'll be interested. Wouldn't be terribly surprised to see the Avs potentially move on from Barbario in one way or another.
Apparently, Tampa fans want him back.
I'm pretty sure.
What was that, Callie?
Tampa fans want Barbario back.
Sure, we'll take Sergachev.
Yeah, let's
make that happen. Yeah. Legit.
Evidently, they love him there.
Okay.
They're feel free to love them.
Yeah, they should take
the
him back.
The problem with Barbario is he gets hurt so often.
Yeah, this was a rough season for him.
Last year was a rough season too.
I mean, it was definitely. I mean, very, very rough for sure. But I mean, even the guys that will likely still be. I doubt the Avs will give up on Kerfoot quite yet. But he's not going to get a ton of money. Comfer, of all of the younger guys, probably had the best year.
I would extend him for a decent 3-4 years.
It's absolutely.
Please.
He'll get a decent raise, but it's not going to break the bank.
Because he's such a jack of all trades, you really want to keep him around.
Absolutely. No, I loved his game this year. Absolutely loved his game this year, and he started scoring on breakaways.
He made over the South. What is he going to do next year?
I don't know, but he certainly is showing his value to the team, which is what you really wanted to get out of him. He'll probably top out as a 30 to 40 point guy, but that's okay. You put that guy on your third line, and you're good.
Yeah.
And it's all about the goals that he saves over the goals he scores.
Mm-hmm. The goal. Yeah. I mean, he can. Those types of guys, those jack of all trades guys, will make differences in a lot of ways. They'll show up on your power play in instances. He'll kill penalties. He'll be in even strength big moments. I know it's not a lot of people's favorite things to look at, but his plus when it's
unless you're me,
when it's this big of a difference. He was minus 29 last year. He's minus 5 this year. Plus minus is not my favorite stat to look at, but that is a big jump.
He generally is a positive Corsi player too. He generally generates more shots than he gives up.
And we obviously always need more of those for sure.
He's your perfect third line center.
I'll take it. I like him better as a center than as a winger.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely. No, he's definitely...
I like him better at center. I like Jost better at center as well.
Yeah. Jost has definitely looked a lot better at center since he got sent down and called back up.
Yeah. What was... let's see here. I'm trying to find some of possession metrics. Here we go. Comfers... he's a little below 50% on the Corsi for the season, but more or less even. It's not like he's 48.5 on the Corsi 4. He's a guy that gets a lot of he's about 50-50, a little heavier on the D zone starts than the O zone starts. Where's his face-off percentage? Face-offs are 51.4%. All over 50% is always a good sign for the face-offs. You gotta like,
especially on our team,
especially on the Avalanche. Yeah, I mean, he made a good step this year. I would like to see if he can't get to that 40-point mark next year. That would be really excellent. But I mean, you can't. It's hard to not like what Comfort gave you this year.
Yeah, my main concern going forward, I have no idea what they're going to do regarding goaltender.
Yeah,
I don't have faith in Grubauer.
Laurent Brissot.
What's that?
Sign Laurent Brissot. Do it.
Maybe. I'm just ready to stop nibbling at the goaltending market.
yeah.
Do it.
I mean, give Frankie a shot.
Yeah, but
But
then do you still
Grubauer
want Groovy
doesn't
as your
strike me as a
backup?
starter. He strikes me as a backup.
Francouz.
Even at that.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to say what you got in Francouz until you see it, for sure. I mean, he's had a good
Right.
year down in the AHL. He's had a very good year down in the AHL. Who was the player you were talking about, Cal? You kept cutting out every time you were saying, like, literally as soon as you started saying his name.
Laurent Brissot, he's the backup for the Jets.
Gotcha. I'm not familiar with him at all, really, so I don't really know what to say.
I've started to dig into him since Callie brought him up. He's actually got a lot of good metrics behind him.
I'm not saying, but I'm saying.
I'm just tired of nibbling at the goaltending market, hoping for a short-term fix, or hoping for,
No
this guy was a
kidding.
backup, but he's ready to be a starter. I'm ready for just pay up, get one. Maybe out of third first, so you can get Spencer Knight this year. Because I wouldn't take him where the Avs are probably going to be picking. The goaltender is the one thing that makes me wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
a big question mark.
That's been a huge question mark for the Avs, basically their entire existence.
I mean,
They have never drafted and developed their own starting goaltender since they've been in Colorado.
yeah, they are the goaltenders what the Denver Broncos are the quarterbacks
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
in their history.
That's true. In their history, you're not wrong. I mean, what is
I don't even know how you fix that.
I mean, goaltenders are always they're always different for sure. But the Avs' history with drafting goaltenders, especially recent history, has been let's select random, unscouted, barely named guy from some Swedish 2 league or European 2 league and see what we get.
Sammy out of Callie.
What's that?
Sammy out of Callie.
Yeah, Sammy Atticalio. He was one of the closest ones, other than Calvin Pickard. I mean, Pickard
Adam
had
Warner's going to come over this year, it looks like.
he has been really the one that has had the best trajectory, really maybe ever. Other than I think the only other one that has made any type of NHL career really, other than Picks, who is basically going to be a backup at best, was Mark Denis,
Yeah.
who they selected with their first ever pick as the Colorado hockey team before they had even been named. Back in '95.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, other guys that they have drafted, I'm looking at their history right now. Mark Denis was a first-round pick in '95. Ended up being a starter for the Blue Jackets for a while. Played in Tampa Bay and Montreal for a hot second. But other than that, there are so many goalies that you just look at them. They're like, there's just no. David Abisher, they drafted in the 6th round, who got a little bit of action, but then of course was traded for Jose Theodore. Philippe Sauvé, remember him?
Vaguely.
Was a backup for a little bit.
I remember Peter Budaj.
Yeah, Peter Budaj, who of course Peter Budaj couldn't beat out Andrew Raycroft. Yeah. For a starting job.
But there was like half a year where Budaj took over and he was awesome.
Yeah, half a year.
We could use him right now.
Tyler Wyman was a
For
fifth-round pick that
half a year.
never panned out to anything. God, look at all these names of people that just never. Even Ian Kesserich was a seventh-round goalie selection that never sniffed the NHL.
Didn't they draft Vitaly Kolesnik too?
Yep, we sure did. We sure did.
And I could probably do quite a few of the goaltenders that they drafted from like 2008 to now. Peter Delmas, Calvin Pickard, Sami Iacalio. This is just straight off memory. Oleg Kavaka.
Spencer Martin was 13, and he's, of course, kind of hit a wall, it seems like.
In Soviet Russia, wall hit you.
Martin, too, was another one that had a little bit of hype coming with him. He had some solid years in Mississauga in the OHL. Had a pretty solid...
He came up, and it's gone.
Yeah, and it's gone. God, then there, of course... there's so many random ones. Maximilian Pajpak.
Pajpak.
Yeah. Sixth-round pick.
Fun name to say.
Never did anything. Adam Werner was the most recent. Was one of the more. Was 16. Who has, like we've said, has been the only one that's really shown positive steps. Has done well in the SHL this year.
Yeah, he's done very well. I would be shocked if he's not brought over.
I imagine that would have to be the plan. I remember he's a. I know Callie will like this. He's a big mamma jamma. He's 6'5". Big goalie, and I remember seeing him at a few of his development camps early when he was first drafted. Athletic is all get out.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's Peter Kavacha, and then of course last year was this last season was Justus Ananen and Shamil Shmakov with a sensational shave.
Every time.
Has
to happen. Can't do it without it.
Just the goaltending, drafting, and developing has been awful.
Atrocious?
It's been poor.
It's been, it's unacceptable. They've gotten nobody.
Colorado, where your goaltending career goes to die.
Unless you're Patrick Waugh.
Maybe that's
it.
It's the curse of Patrick Waugh.
There it is.
Well, maybe it's the curse of you're not actually getting starting level talent. I'm still on board. If Anaheim really looks at the cap situation, they're fucked. And so see if you can
ignoring it. It'll go away.
Yeah, I'm sure that Getzlaff and Perry are going to age in reverse.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Miss World pissants.
They're related to Benjamin Button.
Because being complete douchebags makes you age in reverse.
Yeah, well. In that case, Corey Perry will never die.
Oh, you just made my night all the way worse.
What's that?
I said you just made my night all the way worse.
I'm sorry.
Think of a league where Corey Perry doesn't retire.
Ugh.
That's not a league I want to be in. It's not even a league of extraordinary gentlemen.
Nope. Yeah, but I mean, of all the guys that Anaheim would move, there's no way they're moving Gibson.
Probably not.
They've got him at such a good number.
I'm holding myself to that probably won't happen.
I would love that. I mean, God, that'd be the best thing ever if that did. But that would end up being a huge deal. He's only at $6.4 million, and for as good as he is, and that doesn't even kick in until next year.
Jump on the Laurent Brossoit trade. Choo choo.
Choo choo.
He's an unrestricted free agent this year. Just saying.
Well, I mean, the Avs certainly don't have anyone else in their system who's gonna. I mean, but what's the only other real option? Is to Frankie, or honestly, I mean, that's only if the team is willing to give that type of thing a shot. which I
And
don't.
he's an unrestricted free agent too. So if he gets told you're not starting, is he gonna play?
I don't know. That might
If
have
he
to be
gets
the
told
thing.
he's an AHL goalie.
That may have to be the thing that maybe that's the thing that they have to toss in to sweeten the pot enough for him to stay. Is okay, maybe come up and get some NHL time.
By the way, Brissot is a restricted free agent.
Damn it! I thought he was unrestricted.
Nope.
Damn it!
Oh yeah, RFA, arbitration eligible. He's only
Ew.
25. Hellebuck is only 25.
Yeah, he's
too.
25.
So I'd see the Avs a lot of the way that I see Winnipeg a couple of years ago. Winnipeg had all the talent, had a pretty good roster. They were still kind of putting some pieces together, but they lacked a goaltender. They got a goaltender in Hellebuck, and no, I still think they're the team to beat in the West.
Yep.
It's tough. To
I'm ready for this offseason. I'm ready to not blow things up, but make some major shifts. Tyson Barrie gone. I'm ready for Eric Johnson to be pushed down the lineup because he's had an awful year. Ian Cole had a great first part of the year, and he's had a terrible second part of the year.
and
he's about to get lynch mobbed by Avs fans.
Well, which is very interesting. I mean, he's another one that's interesting because his Corsi numbers are pretty good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think he's our worst defenseman
I don't think it's
by any stretch
by
of the
far.
imagination.
He's not anywhere close.
No.
He's just fallen off he had a really hot start.
Yet he's still going to get lynch mobbed by Avs fans.
Which I mean,
Well,
I was just looking at some of the post
anyone who
game.
doesn't live up to their expectations.
You look at some of the post game tweets, and again, some of the things when Cole is on the ice, the Avs are not giving up shots, and the one or two shots that do happen go in.
Right. He's just unlucky.
He's been
In that
probably the
situation.
most unlucky defenseman on the team.
That's the benefit of being paired with Barry again with the Avs goaltenders on the ice. I'm sorry, I'm pretty through with Tyson Barrie. I understand he's a good offensive play driver, but
You're
clear
like
out a
me
spot
and the
for
other
Cale
defenseman
McCarr.
to drive.
It's something like a top six forward for him because that's what he is anyway. You make your forwards deeper. You don't rob anything from your defense. Do it. And you save yourself $5.5 million.
And then maybe we say Cale McCarr.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, we
I
will
feel that
definitely.
with that.
There will definitely be Cale McCarr.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have no doubt he's making the team. I just mean in that number one pairing.
Yeah. That's an interesting idea for a pairing, though. Is it going to be McCarr and Girard?
No,
Oh, that'd be a roller coaster that I'm here
Because
for.
you talk about a small top pair
no,
there.
nope.
I'm more apt to put McCarr with someone like Zadora. That'd be
Yes.
risky. Or
In that case,
Cole.
you ain't pushing EJ down.
Right. I just want to. They've done a pretty good job at limiting Eric Johnson's minutes. They just need to address that situation before too terribly long because he's aging in dog years.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a defense was.
he's another one that gets unlucky with the injuries and just gets weird injuries.
Yeah, he has always gotten weird injuries.
Well, he's gotten a lot of leg injuries, and I feel like that's starting to take its toll.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
I
could
could see
very,
that.
very easily be. I mean, how many?
It's not a huge issue, but it is one that's coming up, and the Avs have to. The best thing that could happen for the Avs is they get one of the top 3 picks, ideally one of the top 2, and then they get the 4th overall pick as well.
That'd be a hell of a draft.
Yeah, you draft your last forward you really need, assuming you get a forward in Tyson Barrie trade, and then you draft your defenseman that you need, Bo and Bira.
At 4?
That's kind of the dream. If you want everything to work out perfectly, that's what you want. Or 2-3, as I just did. 2-3, I'd still go defenseman on the 3rd pick.
Well, you're probably not taking the best player available at that point then.
I can afford with 2 picks right in a row, I can afford to take a little bit of a stab here. And Biram is good. He's your guy that can replace EJ.
I definitely have not looked as much into the draft at this point of the year as
I started looking into it more for some odd reason.
for what I don't know what would have driven you to do that. Oh man, yeah, we're kind of all over the place with this one at the moment.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way this year has gone.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this just been so frustrating. I want to kind of come back to that to the last game here. Did you hear Bednar at the end of the game last night?
No.
No.
This is one of the. I mean, obviously, he is not a fiery coach, really, by any stretch of the imagination. Obvious frustration in him yesterday, as obvious as it gets with him. And one of the few press conferences where he has really just taken the team and said, "All right, under the bus you go." A little bit. It was pretty. It was interesting. It was very interesting to hear him be as deliberate about being like the guys are not doing what they need to be doing here. The whole idea of, you know what, consistency is a skill. You have to work at it. You have to work at it so that you are coming out and giving your best effort every night. He said we can't keep learning the same lessons over and over and over again. At some point, you need to actually be better. It was one of the things. I mean, that was those are. I know a lot of people were like, well, why wouldn't you say that earlier in the year yet? And that's one of the things. I'm sure he was saying that in the locker room. That sort of stuff is said. That sort of stuff is absolutely said in the locker room.
And he has been saying it all year, if you've been paying attention.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. Yes, and he once again brought out the whole, we were checking with our eyes, not checking with our legs. We need to be checking with our legs. We looked like the tired team. I mean, that was one of NHL coaches, especially nowadays. There's not a lot that go out and throw the red meat to the media anymore with like calling players out in specific ways at all. This was pretty pointed at the entire locker room.
I get the sense that Bednar, there are some serious players that Bednar either doesn't like or can't use. And I have a sneaking suspicion that one of them is Nikita Zadorov. I think he's too high risk, low reward for Bednar to really like him.
I think there's obvious frustration with Zadorov.
Yeah.
Just if you look at the way he's been, his minutes have gotten cut at sometimes. He was healthy scratched a couple times. There's pretty obvious frustration there.
I just would not be surprised. There were enough rumors leading up to the trade deadline. I would not be surprised if Zadorov is traded. Mm-hmm. It would take a pretty. It's not going to be for spare parts, but I would not be surprised at that.
I certainly wouldn't be surprised to watch the Avs go to arbitration with Zadorov. I think I think Zad has some specific ideas for where he wants to be recognized as a player, and there's probably not going to be a matching view of that with the Avs, at least not this off season. So I don't know that it necessarily gets traded. I think this might be the make or break year for him next season. I wouldn't be surprised to see it go all the way through arbitration. They get a 1-year deal. Whatever happens next year, and Either he proves he's worth it big time and they keep him sign him long term, or they move on from him at that point.
Right.
I could absolutely see that. Or you could see that they qualify him, say arbitration, then trade him and someone else signs him. That could happen too, for sure. I don't know. You gotta be careful with that though, because I mean, as inconsistent as Zadorov is, he brings something that nobody else on the team does.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm actually advocating for. I just wouldn't be shocked if it happened.
No, I agree. I'm with you too.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're downers tonight.
I will still relate back the growth that Gerard has had. I'm actually very pleased with the growth that AJ Greer has gone through this year. He stopped being a stupid player at the NHL level, so I'm going to give him all the credit there. Finally started using his speed and some of his hands to actually steal the puck and get into the areas where he will score. He just needs better talent around him, and he needs to mature a lot. But I thought he was a lost cause in February, and now I have a little bit of hope left. I'm really excited by what the Colorado Eagles have done. They've put a lot of things together. I'm really excited to see Martin Kaut. He's probably going to graduate next year. Hope he graduates with Greer. Malash, I would not be surprised if he graduates as well. And I'm also excited for this offseason because this is a year that Sakic might just go, I'm done messing around. We're going to do something big.
That'd be nice.
That's what I feel. That's what I hope. That's what I'm almost believe to my core.
Yeah, sadly,
Joe Sakic took a look at this team and said, "Nope, this is not the way we're going to do it." And he's going to do a cultural shift.
That would be interesting.
What does that look like? A cultural shift? You think?
Tyson Berry gone. That'll make everyone feel like, oh, if they could trade Barry, they could trade pretty much everyone. I could see them bringing in guys like Andrew Ghetto, Wilson. Those guys will be moved out, and they'll bring up players that are younger and hungrier. Because when they brought up Greer, when they brought up Agazino, there was a lot of hunger, and I thought, oh, this team's back. Oh, Brassard. Brassard is also gone, which I'm ready for.
Which will also net the Avalanche another pick.
I'm not here for Derek Brassard. I'm sorry. I didn't like the acquisition when it happened, even no matter what they gave up. I just don't think he fits to a lot of teams. There's a reason he's on his fourth team in 3 years. So there are things to be excited for. Cale Makar, I'm really excited to see him take the next step because he is playing chess where everyone's playing checkers at the NCAA level. He's clearly the best player on that ice.
Yeah.
And
if he doesn't win the Hobie Baker this year, then the best player in college hockey isn't winning that award.
Yeah.
And there are still things I'm excited for, but we have to address the goaltending, and we have to address the identity of the team where they don't take nights off, they don't take periods off, they skate, and they commit to one another in a way they never have before. They can get all the players they want. They can get 2 top 4 picks. And if they don't shift the culture to one where what they've been doing since December, where they'll take periods off, is not okay. And I love Landeskog. He's about, I would actually say he's the MVP of this team this year. Take the points of
He's definitely the glue that holds everything together.
Uh-huh. When he went down, I knew the season was toast.
Yeah.
And I think you need another glue guy and another guy like Landeskog. And I don't know if that's necessarily the same person or two different people, but you need there's an accountability that I feel like is lost on the bottom six. I also feel like Nieto, losing him was also kind of a shot because he was playing pretty well before he went down.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a fun question. Well, I want to kind of reverse back a little bit on a few things here. We never really finished talking about what do we do with the goalies. Because really at this point, neither of them have shown that they are necessarily going to take the job and run. I don't believe there's much of a free agent class this year as far as goalies are concerned.
There never is one.
There really isn't one. I mean, of course, there's Bobrovsky at the top, but he's going to want some pretty stupid money.
And his numbers are so similar to Varlamov. I'm steering so clear of that.
Yeah,
it's not
for
funny.
Sure. I mean, there's Mike Smith and Jimmy Howard and Cam Talbot. I mean, is it even? Do you try and use a trade piece to try to create some kind of a trade for a goalie? Maybe try and trade for that Winnipeg fella,
Laurent Brissot.
Yeah,
Laurent Brissot.
do you go? You know what? There's really nothing else to do. Do we bring Varley back for another year?
No.
And
no.
But no. Honestly though, what's the other option?
If my options are go with Grubauer and Francouz or bring back Varlamov, I go with Grubauer and Francouz.
Yep.
I'm ready to try something
but
different.
I still vote Brissot. just me.
And honestly, because he's probably going to go top. I don't even know where he's going to go. Goaltenders are weird in drafts.
Very weird.
But Spencer Knight, I spent a high pick on him. I find a way to get it. I'm tired of trying to stopgap an issue that needs a full fix.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe Grubauer is better next year. Maybe they need to get Jussi Parkilla out of here, and he'll be better.
That's possible.
My vote is still for trade for Gibson.
I mean, if you can make that happen, I don't think there's too many people that would be down on that type of move. But
right,
obviously that's good.
It would be tough to do. It would probably I would probably have to send them Tyson Berry, Tyson Jost, my 2021st, and one of my prospects for it to even start there, and I'd have to take the Kessler contract back.
Yeah, probably.
Because that thing is stinky.
A lot of people talk culture change. They think coach. Do the Avalanche need to start thinking about moving on from Jared Bednar?
Unless you can get Bill Quenneville in, I'm not signing up for a new coach.
I agree. I don't think there's any reason to move on from Bednar. I think the Avs...
Again, it's unless you get Quenneville, because Quenneville is a top 5 coach of all time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, shut it down, move on. People like to hate on Bednar for reasons.
Yeah. Callie, what do you say?
The team doesn't play well for him. Well, that's not his fault.
Callie, what do you say?
In a way, it's his fault, but it's not his fault. Not true.
For me, a lot of people that hate on Bednar don't go to practice, don't see his actual coaching style. Granted, we're not on the bench, but you get a lot of how a coach coaches via practice. I think
I
he's
like
a
his
good
interviews
coach.
too.
Yeah, that too. But I think overall he's a good coach, and I don't think this is a coaching problem. I think that looks different.
I agree.
And
I agree. I mean, the most important thing that you have a lot of times in games is how does the team play 5-on-5? And the Avs play well 5-on-5. Really, like, generally speaking, they're a good 5-on-5 team. Now, obviously, this does not, you can't discount how they play on the power play, how they play on special teams, because you still got to be able to kill penalties, you still got to be able to score on the power play. I mean, the power play was up and down. But again, it seems like when the team gets out of their cute heads and just executes what they know they're supposed to do, they do great. And I mean, to me, this is I hear that you see it so much. They're not executing. The systems don't work. What about he can't get the players up to start for a consistent game? Like, how many years have we been saying this about this team? How many coaches have we gone through where we have to hear the same? Well, he doesn't get the team started. Maybe this isn't the coach. Maybe after 3 frickin' coaches, you need to look at the core of that team and say, what the hell is wrong with you?
which is why I'm advocating for a culture shift.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I'm with you there. I just the whole it just it kills me the way that it automatically goes straight to the whole. Well, they're not playing. They don't play consistently. They take things off, and it must be the coach's fault. God, that was their hallmark under Patrick Waugh. That was. I mean, how many times do we hear?
It's just an easy target.
It really is. I mean, how many times do we hear Joe Sacco say those fucking words? We didn't start the game on time.
It's still kind of famous around here.
Yeah. At what point do you finally look at your favorite player and say, you're not doing your damn job, you need to be better or get out?
Mm-hmm. And I'm not taking any prisoners here.
Yeah.
I mean, Mikko Rantanen needs to stop taking so many penalties. Nathan McKinnon needs to stop turning the puck over so much. I could go down a list. I could list something for pretty much every player. JT Compher is generally pretty good, but he likes to take the stupid penalty every time, once in a while. But you've got to send a message from management that says we need to do better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good enough is not good enough. And if you think you can come here and skate and get by, nope, you're gone. That's kind of why Kerfoot drives me nuts, because his engine goes on and off, and I can't. It's like a hybrid. I can't tell when it's actually on.
It's a good analogy.
Thank you.
Best case scenario for this offseason, what do you think?
Get a goalie.
Gibson.
That's my best case scenario.
Best case scenario, you grab 2 top 4 picks. You sign a pretty good free agent. You trade Tyson Barrie to the Montreal Canadiens for Jonathan Drouin. Yeah, I'm getting specific here. And maybe another. You get rid of Nemeth, Andrighetto, Wilson, Bork, Broussard. And in their place, you have Makar, Kaut, Greer, and I don't know who else. Let them fight that out.
Callie?
I just want a goalie. Man, can we just start there? Like, that's, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm there with you.
Yeah. Just start there.
League average goaltender.
Screw league average.
One.
I want a good goaltender. I want
a good one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would like a good one too, but I mean, hey, we get league average goaltending this season. The Avs are in the playoffs.
Oh, certainly. I'm just interested in something beyond the playoffs.
Yes, but
Yeah.
It's been 11 fucking years since they won a playoff
and then we're
series.
the
That's done.
Jets.
Sorry, Callie, what?
We get good goaltending and we're the Jets.
Right. I'm tired of. It's been 11 fucking years since we won a playoff series. It's been longer than that since we've been to the playoffs in consecutive years.
Yeah.
And I've been pretty patient up until now, and that patient is just about evaporated.
I think that's pretty much
this
the
is
case.
the last year I'm patient.
Yeah.
So from here on out, for what you're looking at in the draft, for everything that's coming, then I start to get pissed.
Yeah, I think that pretty well echoes the Avalanche fan base. I think that echoes. I mean, Ian Cole even said it in the locker room last night. How long can you how you can only say you're a young team for so long.
You're a young team until you're not.
At this point, that's no longer an excuse. At this point, we're a young team is deflection from taking a blame.
Bullshit.
It's absolutely,
It's bullshit.
McKinnon will be 24 at the start of next season. Landeskog is 26. Rantanen is the young fella. He's 22. Jost is 20. I mean, they're all coming into three or more seasons now in the NHL. Started next year.
And the core of your team is not young.
No.
The core of your team has to be the ones to lead, to set the example, to make everyone accountable, and everyone has to chip in and skate.
Yep.
And
You
from the
gotta
get-go.
do more than just say the right things.
Right.
This team, if winning the Stanley Cup was about saying the right things in the locker room, the Avalanche should have won 8 by now. Because man, they sure know how to say, man, we got to be a more consistent team. We can't take periods of hockey off. We can't shoot ourselves in the foot. We've got to maintain focus. Our best players have to be our best players. They sure know how to talk the game, but then there's no excuses anymore. They have to stop saying it and start doing it.
Excuses and an empty sack are worth the sack.
Yep. A lot of us said at the start of the season it would depend on how the Avalanche missed the playoffs to determine whether or not this was a failure, that would be a failure of a season. Is this a failure of a season?
Yes. Especially for how they started the first 2 months.
Callie?
Yeah. Yeah, a big collapse makes it a fail.
Absolutely.
They definitely collapsed.
Absolutely. This wasn't one of those, they were playing strong and hanging around and being persistent and sticking in the picture and just falling short. This was, they had it all set up. Everything was in their favor. Absolutely. They put themselves in a great position. They didn't even have 10 regulation losses at the start of December.
We even had the entire Central Division collapse at the same time.
Yeah.
This is the year. I mean, the West is shit this year.
Yep. The Avalanche shit their pants in colossal fashion. This is a massive failure of a season.
And this is the kind of thing where management looks at this and says, okay, changes are coming.
I hope so.
I tried to support you. I tried to give you a chance to see what you had, and clearly it's not to our expectations. Now it gets real.
Yep.
Actions and inactions have consequences.
A very frustrating...
And management better do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. If
Or else
management
fans are
sits
gonna
on their
rebel.
hands and does basically jack squat, it'll be really hard to sell. It'll be really hard to sell me on this team.
Yeah, I haven't. It's been ages since I've heard so many Avalanche fans saying, "How many times can I listen to this whole? Well, we've got a bright future ahead of us."
Yeah.
Avalanche fans are sick of it. They're ready for the team to be competitive.
And you know who also is sick?
Yeah,
of
we don't want to be the Leafs.
You know who also is sick of it? Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
What did you say at the end of last year? If we don't make the playoffs this year, it's a failure.
Yep.
Yep.
So I'm understanding. I'm actually kind of even keel about this. I haven't gotten really too fed up, too pissed off by what's happened. Next year that changes. They pull this stuff next year, and that's when I start to get disengaged as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty.
That's where I go.
The
Well,
fan base has
I'm
been
coming
pretty
back
patient.
when you're real.
Yeah.
Well, the Nuggets are doing well.
Yeah.
And hey, Joe Flacco is the Broncos quarterback.
And the Rockies have a 3-year window.
Oh man.
Rocky signed someone to a long-term deal.
Let's end on a positive note. What was your what was your brightest spot for the Avalanche season this year?
3 goal scorers.
Sam Girard's steps forward.
I'll take JT Comfort. He showed his.
Yeah.
I was expecting you to say that.
Yeah, I know. I figured if it came from me, people would just be like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, no, I mean, I
let somebody else say it.
I was gonna go 330 goal scorers, but you said that, so I'll go JT Comfort, showing his worth. Showing his worth, absolutely deserves to say. And
well, I'm happy someone else will say it.
Yeah, no, and Carl too. Carl's got 1 year left on him, but what a great year Soderberg has had, career year in goals.
I would not be opposed to extending Carl Soderberg a couple more years.
Well, you got to be a little careful, the boys getting up there.
Right. But I'm just not in any rush to get him out of town.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
And by the way, he is blind in one eye.
In case you didn't know.
In case
You're just stealing all my lines now.
Right on. All right. Well, obviously, this was a little bit of a rambly, ranty podcast, and that's okay. We're all pretty frustrated with the way this season has come down. Anything else to add, or shall we call that a podcast?
Just a lot of stuff to get out, and I feel better now. I don't know about you all.
I may have to go grab another glass of whiskey, and then I'll be fine. But you know. Oh, mercy. All right. Well, we'll call that a podcast. Aaron, thank you for joining me. Callie, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Good to chat with you. Always good to chat with you both, I should say.
Yeah, always. I've very much enjoyed going to the three-person format here.
I really much appreciate it.
Yeah. No, you've been an excellent addition. Excellent.
Thank you for being a friend.
Oh, thank you guys for being inclusive.
Travel down the road and back again. Oh, man. Ended on a smile. All right. Thanks for sticking with us, everybody. We'll catch you later on the latest edition. Who knows? Maybe all this ranting will end up being for nothing, and the Avs will suddenly do something miraculous in the last 11 games and push into the playoffs. Who knows?
I have beachfront property to sell you in Nevada.
We'll talk about that right now. Enjoy your night, everybody, and we will talk to you all later.